From the July 21st, 2025 Planning Commission meeting. Are there any questions or corrections to those minutes? Is there a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
So Jenny moved and Marty seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And that motion passes, just like the agenda, 4-0. Our first round of public comment is restricted to items on the Planning Commission agenda, which includes one item of tabled old business and one item of new business. And if you'd like to speak, please come to the podium and state your name and address. Ms. Sipperly.
Sue Sipperly. I live at 314 North Stratton Street, and I sent you all an email a couple days yesterday about the townhouse project, which I'm totally in favor of the housing there and all that, but it would be nice if the asphalt 8-foot wide trail sidewalk thing in front of it is the, I don't know, call it tinted concrete that looks so much better, and there's a temperature difference between the concrete and the asphalt, and just seemed like a good idea to make it look better, be safer, and more environmentally compatible. And also, I was just wondering, when you do your update, if there's any news yet on the traffic study for the station project. That's it.
Thank you. Is there any additional comment? Okay, John, do you want to explain the tabled old business?
So yes, good evening. At the June meeting, Planning Commission has previously postponed the Gettysburg Station Subdivision Land Development Plan Review. The developer has asked for a further extension. At this time, we're going to recommend an extension until the November 17th meeting for the Planning Commission to review materials. Staff is going to be meeting with the development team, with the architect, borough engineer, and myself, and manager on the 17th of September, so Wednesday. We hope to have plan sets, and there's an expectation that this would not go beyond a period of 1 year with the application. As it is now, the application was submitted in April of 2025. The reason I say 1 year, once we hit a year, there'd be an expectation that material prices would change, material availability would change, and just to ensure that there's a continuation of the actual plan. We're working with the developer to make this this November meeting happen. If we're able to do it sooner, we'll bring it to the October meeting. But we also want to provide the opportunity for the Planning Commission to digest the changes, and there will be changes to the plan, specifically as it relates to increasing, they're looking at specifically increasing the availability of landscaping, so reconfiguring some of the drive aisles, and then some of the general comments like trash collection, just general access, things like that. Traffic, we're still working with PennDOT on some of those issues, so hopefully we'll have a better update that we can provide in October. If not, we'll definitely be discussing this in November per request.
Thank you, John. So you're asking for a motion to postpone Gettysburg Station review for 2 months until the November 17th meeting.
Yes.
So does anyone have any questions for John, or if you feel prepared to make that motion, we can always discuss it after that, either way.
I'll move to postpone decisions on the Gettysburg Station until November 17th. I don't know if I worded that properly. Grant an extension.
I second.
So Marty moved and Jenny seconded. Are there any questions? I had a couple. The first one, last time we got the postponement, I think there was to be a meeting back then.
Mhm.
Did that meeting happen?
It did happen. We had a meeting with the design team where we discussed the initial issues. So bring once again trash collection, the modifications and waivers related to landscaping, some general connection issues that may present themselves related to water and wastewater utilities. We had anticipated having plan sets back by now, but for whatever reason they were delayed. Like I said, we will be meeting on the 17th to make
Keep it
sure
moving.
make sure we have actual physical plan sets that we can provide.
I remember Chad had some notes back then,
Mhm.
and they have probably responded to those.
Yes, and so we had a whole punch list
Okay.
of items, and then they're working with the PennDOT it's a conversation that takes a long time because you have to give them your plans, they give you comments, and it's almost like they're always something to comment about. So hopefully they're at a point once we get to this meeting, we'll have an establishment of either the completion of that traffic study or a timeline for when we will expect it to be done.
Well, that was actually my second question. I've been on the planning commission for a while, but I don't believe that I've ever been part of a plan that included a traffic study. So if you remember, like, when this first came up, I thought there should be some education that we receive up here on what to do with a traffic study. I don't mean to sound like I'm completely ignorant of it, but it's going to take a little thought to be able to read that, and I imagine you and Chad will explain it to us.
Most of the heavy lifting's got to be from Chad on that one. It is an engineering document at the end, but overall, the stringency is a requirement as a result of their access being off of a state road. That's what really changes things, and it makes it tricky for the applicant, given the location and the roads that are servicing the location and their current level of service. When we'll have a fun, I call it a fun, we'll have a discussion about traffic planning once we have that finalized plan, because it is something, I imagine there will be a question, how are the streets going to be able to handle not only the traffic load from the occupants, but the actual traffic and demand that's going to be occurring throughout the day for the commercial components.
And then my last question is just the process. When we receive the plans, whether it's October or November, will it appear similar to the way we do them all? There'll be additional comments that Chad will provide. We'll review those along with other. When I guess am I asking is, does it go out to the county and to the other people who weigh in?
So it has gone out to the county. They've provided their comments, and their comments were very generalized and limited to things like I think trash collection came up on their end, and then we really should be at a point after this next round of making the plan document where it's either at a stage where it's conditional approval, there are substantial changes which they'll go back and workshop those changes and come back,
Okay.
or it'll be something where you should be able to make a decision clearly.
We'll have
at
the
that point.
information.
Yes.
Is what you're saying. Okay. All right. Any other questions? All right. Our next item of.
We didn't vote though.
Oh, we didn't vote. All those in favor of postponing until November 17th, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? And that motion passes 4-0. Okay, the only item of new business, John.
Yes, this is the application notes it's the final major subdivision land development plan, but it's the preliminary and final major subdivision land development plan for Simrat LLC. This is at 351 East Water Street. I believe the applicant is here this evening and can speak to some of the finer points. But with regards to the application materials, we did work with the applicant. We noticed that there are some planning related, like zoning related issues, and there's additional subdivision issues that'll come up when we're fully engaged with the review. But at this time, it does appear that the materials are in order for the acceptance of the application. There are some items that on the checklist we did not necessarily request, as we were going to wait until planning commission meeting to see how many people actually want hard copies of the plan. So if that's something a planning commission member would like, we can we can have hard copies provided, but otherwise, yeah, all of the materials that are not submitted are related to the physical copies. It is a little tricky. We're probably going to have to, when we get to this outer ordinance, get to a point where we're revising this section of the ordinance, because the ability for us to even mandate document sizes is challenged as it is right now. Adams County is only accepting a smaller plan sheet for recordation, so all of our ordinances kind of out of whack and not necessarily, I guess it's kind of obsolete at this point. So that's something we will be discussing next year, luckily. So with this application, the development itself calls for townhomes. Let's see if I can get this to resize correctly. Okay, currently the area is vacant. Right next door is the recently developed, it's a physical therapy center. Behind this location is Mason-Dixon Distillery, and then Spectra Coat further to the southwest. This is the general configuration of the parcel, I should say. The way it would be is 2 main structures, and then each with 5 of the single-family attached dwelling units. The parcel itself is in a zoning district that allows for this land use, allows for the configuration of the lots. The challenge will be parking. That's why staff at this time is recommending that the applicant explore off-site parking that's permitted. There's a sizable parking lot directly to the south of this parcel that has numerous spaces that might be available to meet that off-street parking requirement and still maintain this design. Other than that, we haven't received any comments directly from the county or our engineer at this time. Those were sent in, I want to say it was early last week. We had some changes to this document set that were then relayed to the county. When we receive those comments, we'll be able to provide you with them, but at this time the request is just to be able to accept the application for review.
Okay. Would you wish to say anything? Okay. Sure, Marty does.
Yeah. So, I don't know is it okay if I make a comment on the plan? So I don't know what the setback of the buildings is, but it looks like you're putting in garages. So I don't know about you, but I tend to park in front of my garage and not utilize the garage. And so my worry would be that people would be parking right in that space between the garage and the street. And I don't know, I would love a copy so I can measure, but that's my only note there. So basically you'd be parking in the bike path. That's what I'm sort of reading. But,
I wanted to ask about that too, John, because am I right that our ordinance, when there's an alley, prohibits garages on the front? You're required to have parking in the back. But in this case, because there's not an alley there, that's it's okay to propose garages in the front?
Well, there's an issue when it comes to creating additional curb cuts.
Right, that's what I was worried about,
Yeah.
curb cuts in the bike lane.
That's something we're going to have to either work out to establish if it would be a variance from the planning and zoning code for that for each structure or for the project, or if there's an alternative where there's a design that doesn't have that type of curb cut. This is going to be something we can drill down to in a more in-depth fashion, but yeah, we weren't necessarily looking at the specific design of the buildings at this time. But that is a legitimate concern and something that, yeah, I mean, if you're talking about 10 cars, They're all gonna be going in and out. It does create a wall of cars, not necessarily very pedestrian encouragement. And then, yeah, if you're having the interplay of backing into the bike lane, that's an issue.
That was also, yeah, that's my concern, seeing this as Marty's. Otherwise, I'm excited to see a townhouse proposal in that location.
I may have missed exactly how you described, will we get a different plan that is more easy to read than the one that we have? Mine seems, unless it's just my program, it's sort of truncated.
I think that is your program.
Oh, it's my program. All right, I'll figure it out a different way then. All right. Any other comments? So you're looking for a motion to accept for review?
Yes.
Would anyone care to make that motion to accept this plan for review, taking maybe into consideration some of the comments that have been made or the comment during public comment for our thoughts next meeting?
I'll make a motion to accept SLD 250002 for review.
I'll second.
So Sarah moved and Marty seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? And that motion passes 4-0. We'll see you next month. Okay. We have two announcements. The first is that the next Planning Commission meeting is scheduled for Monday, October 20th, 2025 at 7 p.m. And that there is also a public hearing for the zoning ordinance and zoning map amendments on Monday, October 27th at 2025. October 27th, 2025 at what time?
At this time, I don't have an exact time. It's either going to be 6 p.m. or 6:30.
Okay. All right. We now have additional comments from Planning Commission members. I'll start with Jenny.
No comments, thank you.
Neither.
None from me. So final public comment. Seeing none, is there a motion to adjourn?
I so move.
Is there a second?
Second.
So Jenny moved and Marty seconded. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. And our meeting is adjourned at 7:19 p.m.